Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are welcome to the very last week of our facilitation for ISL 101 for this semester. I hope and I want to believe that you have enjoyed all we have been doing from week 1. Today we will continue the revision of what we have done in the past. So, last week we did some part of the revision. Then we want to finish our revision this week. My name is Professor Mustafa Adejora Abdurrahim. You are welcome. Yes, you are welcome. Let's continue. This week we want to continue our revision on the Sunnah of the Prophet, the Ijma, Qiyas, Ijtihad, and contribution of Islam to science and various sciences associated to Islam. So, at the end of today, we should be able to discuss on all those ones. Yes, last week, we did the revision of first part of what we have been doing, and this week we want to complete our revision to signify the end of our facilitation on this course, ISL 101, for this semester. So, we are looking at the meaning of Sunnah or Hadith. So, if you remember, in the last, during our last lessons, we explained that Ibn Durayd explained what Sunnah means as to fashion a thing or to produce it as a model. When you say something is a Sunnah, that is to serve as a model. So when you set or you fashion something out to be used by others as a model, so then we say it is a Sunnah. So the word Sunnah has been in existence before Islam. So the Arabs have been used to that word even before the introduction of Islam to them. Then, Sunnah in the Sharia connotes the normative practice said by Prophet Muhammad. That is, when we say Sunnah in Islamic Sharia, it means the norms and the practices that has been put in place by Prophet Muhammad to serve as a model, as something to be emulated by the followers. So hadith, on the other hand, literally means a piece of news, just a story. When we say something is hadith, hadathani, that is, he informed me, he told me something. So hadith means a piece of story or a news or a statement. But technically, when you hear hadith, it is used to refer to the wordings, to the statements made by Prophet Muhammad. So the glorious Quran affirms the Prophet as the best model. This is the Sunnah. This is the basis for Sunnah in the Quran. So why do we make reference to Sunnah or Hadith? Because even in the Quran, God says, that is, you have the best example in the lifestyle of Prophet, so that you should emulate. So it directed that his behaviors and attitudes should not only be strictly obeyed, but also be fully emulated. That is what the Quran tells us. Then, Sunnah can be classified into 3. We have Sunnah Qawli, that is the verbal Sunnah. We have Sunnah Fi'li, that is the action of Sunnah. Then we have Sunnah Takriri, that is the tacitly approved Sunnah. So, Sunnah Qawli is what the Prophet used, what he says, what is he said out, the statement he made that we had. So it's Sunnah Qawl. Qawl means statement. Then that's number 1. Then another type is Fi'l. Fi'li, that is from action. The action taken by a prophet, any action he took and we saw. So it's a Sunnah for us to follow. Then Takriri, Sunnah Takriri, that is whatever was reported to the prophet and the prophet did not condemn it. That shows the prophet was approve of it. So that is what we call Takriri. And this is what we have explained here If you go through it, you will see it there. Then let's look at ijma. What is ijma? Ijma simply means the consensus of the learned scholars, the scholars of Islam, the Islamic scholars. So whatever they agreed upon, probably because there is no explicit provision for it in the Quran, or during the time of Prophet Muhammad, he didn't mention anything of such, but there is a new development now that came up, and the ulama of that period now came together to make a position. So that is what is called ijma. Ijma. So if you read through, you will see all this. So then the other one is qiyas. What is qiyas? Qiyas means analogical reasoning. Analogical reasoning. So that is when you cannot find an express position or decision from the Quran, you cannot find it in the Sunnah or the Hadith, then you go to this consensus of the ulama, you can't find it, then you use your own reasoning as it is suitable, if that your reason does not contradict the Quran or the Sunnah or the consensus of the ulama. So that is just the summary of the word qiyas. Then ijtihad. Ijtihad is from jahada. Jahada, that is to endeavor, to take pain, to exert something, to embark on a particular trouble or to apply something. So that is ijtihad. So, is for you to just make an effort. The meaning is for you to make an effort in addressing a situation, in providing solution, appropriate solution to a problem. That's just ijtihad. So that is you exert some power. Maybe you use your knowledge, you use your reasoning, you use whatever means you have that is legitimate to bring about a solution to a problem. So it is done by the jurists, Islamic jurists, the Islamic lawyers and doctors during the early days. So they use their reasoning to, and whatever they have to provide solution to a situation that arose. So the origin of ijtihad, according to all sources, cannot be unconnected to the period when Prophet Muhammad sent Muaz bin Jabal. Muaz bin Jabal was sent by the Prophet to go and act as governor in Yemen. So when he was going, the Prophet asked him, with what will you rule? With what will you take decision? So he said, I will use the Quran. Then the Prophet asked, what of if you cannot find an express injunction in the Quran? He said, I will use the Hadith and the Sunnah. Then the Prophet said, if I have not said anything, in respect of that, what will you do? He said, I will use my own reasoning. I will apply my own reasoning. So that is just the basis for ijtihad. And for somebody who engages in ijtihad is called mujtahid. So, and there must be some qualifications for whoever wants to be a mujtahid. Number one is for him to be very vast in the Quran. That is, he has to know the Quran, the verses of the Quran, and the reason for the revelation, which we call asbabun nuzul. So all the legal injunctions in the Quran, legal verses in the Quran, must be well known by the person. He must know all the about 500 legal verses in the Quran. Then he must be very vast in the hadith of the Prophet too. Then he must also know the principles of ijma, that is the consensus of the ulama. Then he must know the principles of qiyas too, how to use his own personal reasoning. So he must have the knowledge of abrogating and abrogated injunctions, that which we call nasikh wal mansukh. Then definition of word Islam and science. Let's go there. It is considered not worthwhile to attempt any definition for Islam again, because we had extensively dealt with that earlier on. So let's go to science. We say Islam is religion of peace. It's from Salam. It's from Salam and other things like that. So science, on the other hand, now is from another Latin word. It's from Latin word scientia, which means knowledge or to know. So it implies that science generally conveys knowledge. That is, when you talk of science, it has to do with natural knowledge. So Islam does not go against science at all, whereas it confirms the relationship between Islam and science. So the first revelation revealed to Prophet Muhammad was on the importance of knowledge. So it was on the importance of knowledge. That is Quran chapter 96, verses 1 to 5. So that shows that Islam is in support of seeking for knowledge. And when we talk of knowledge, it's all sort of knowledge. So the knowledge of science, the knowledge of medicine, the knowledge of anything. So you have to know that Islam is in support. So, and this is in line with the teachings of the Prophet, which is we should study, we should seek for knowledge, even if it means traveling to China. You know, China was not as advanced as it is today. So, and the Prophet has alluded to that even if it means you leaving Arabia to China, you should seek for knowledge there. So, and the Quran says, are those who know equal to those who do not know? They are not equal. That is in Quran chapter 39, verse 10. So this shows that we should seek for knowledge. And in the history of Islam, early Muslim scholars contributed immensely to knowledge, to science. So the arts and sciences were developed. We have so many discoveries in the area of medicine, in mathematics, zoology, astronomy, and so many other things. So Muslim scholars contributed a lot. And it is based on their discovery that these Western scholars, the nowadays scholars of the West, are now building their knowledge. So we have people like Razi, we have Ibn Khaldun, we have so many people that made names from discovery of so many scientific items. So that has been the summary of what we have for you today. So this will bring to the end our facilitation for ISL 101 for this semester. So I will implore you to go over what we have done and to read more from other Islamic texts. So I wish you well, and I hope that you pass very much or very well in your exams. Thank you. My name is Professor Mustafa Adejora Rahim.